The U.S. Department of the Interior's recent 7-page directive, aimed at bolstering the Trump administration's pro-fossil fuel agenda, has ignited fervent opposition from conservation groups. The directive advocates for the dismantling of what it terms burdensome regulations implemented under President Joe Biden, arguing that these restrictions hinder the full exploitation of America's natural resources. The department asserts that removing these regulations will unlock the nation's energy potential, ultimately contributing to a resurgence of American prosperity. This assertion, however, sits uneasily alongside the documented influx of $96 million in funding from fossil fuel interests into Donald Trump's re-election campaign and associated political action committees. The inherent conflict of interest embedded within this financial relationship raises serious concerns about potential bias and undue influence shaping the department's policy decisions. The directive's potential impact on national monuments has sparked widespread alarm among environmental advocates. Particular anxieties center on Bears Ears and Grand Staircase-Escalante national monuments in Utah, sites that have been the subject of protracted disputes between state officials and conservationists. The creation of these monuments initially faced considerable resistance from state authorities, a sentiment likely fueled by the substantial coal reserves within Grand Staircase-Escalante and the uranium deposits found in the Bears Ears region. These resources represent significant economic incentives for fossil fuel extraction, potentially motivating policies that prioritize economic gain over environmental preservation. During his presidency, Donald Trump significantly reduced the size of both Utah monuments, characterizing their establishment as a massive land grab. He also lifted fishing restrictions within a vast marine monument off the New England coast. These actions, reversed by President Biden upon taking office, underscore the cyclical nature of environmental protections under differing administrations and highlight the vulnerability of these protected areas to political shifts. The Utah monuments, encompassing a combined area of over 3.2 million acres, an expanse comparable to the state of Connecticut, were designated under the Antiquities Act of 1906, a law granting presidents the authority to safeguard sites possessing historical, geographical, or cultural significance. The current policy shift threatens to undo decades of conservation efforts and potentially open these vast, ecologically sensitive areas to extensive fossil fuel extraction. The potential for further encroachment on protected lands is amplified by the involvement of figures like Doug Burgum, a prominent Republican figure whose influence on energy policy is undeniable. Burgum's pivotal role in shaping the Trump administration's energy strategy is well documented, further solidifying concerns regarding the potential for partisan interests to overshadow environmental considerations. His assurances to oil executives, promising that a Trump administration would counter Joe Biden's purported attack on fossil fuels after securing a substantial campaign contribution of $1 billion, underscore the deep entanglement of political power and the fossil fuel industry. This direct link between campaign contributions and policy decisions fuels distrust and reinforces anxieties that the proposed changes are not motivated solely by the nation's best interests, but also by the financial interests of powerful lobbying groups. The current administration's actions therefore represent a grave threat to the long-term preservation of these invaluable natural landscapes and the biodiversity they support. The implications extend far beyond Utah, setting a precedent that could jeopardize the protection of other national monuments across the country. The ongoing debate underscores the urgent need for robust and transparent environmental policymaking that prioritizes long-term ecological sustainability over short-term economic gains. The conservation group's concerns, therefore, are not merely hypothetical. They represent a genuine and escalating threat to